I've recently posted a video about some considerations that you could make when thinking about posting an image to a photography competition. Just some ideas to give you a better opportunity of doing well in the competition. And some of the things were just common sense, but I've also added a few compositional rules, things that you might want to think about how you're framing, proposing your image. And what I'd realised since I posted that video that I'd forgotten a couple of really key composition rules that I often see when I'm looking at people's photos, when I'm judging photos, and it sometimes, makes me think, why didn't they think of this? But it might be because you just don't think about these things in the first place. So what I'd thought in this video, I'd just do a couple of simple composition rules just to help you along and to give you an idea of what you can do with your photos. And what I did mention, of course, is that when we look at photos as a viewer of a photograph, we tend to look at that photograph from left to right. That's just subconsciously something we do. We just look at things from left to right because we normally read from left to right, and that's the way our mind works. And what we then do, we look at that picture, we sort of, let's say, we settle on the brightest part of the image, and that brightest part of the image needs to be at least somewhere near your main subject, or focusing, that light needs to focus your eye on the main subject. And that was one of the things that I'd sort of just briefly mentioned. Now, the other important thing that I often see is where somebody's got an image of a person and they're looking out of the frame. So imagine they're looking out of the picture. And sometimes people put an image of a person looking out of the picture for artistic purposes. So they're right in the end of the frame and they're looking out of the picture. But of course, subconsciously, what your mind as the viewer is doing when you see that image, you're imagining what that person's looking at. And they're looking off your page. They're looking away from your picture. So you naturally just follow their eye line. And before you know it, your view, and as the viewer of the photo, is looking off the photo, and you've gone to another photo or something else. So ideally, and obviously these are only rules and you don't need to follow them, but ideally what you want to do, if you've got someone gazing out into the distance, you want them to look into your picture so that the viewer looks and follows their eye line into your picture at something. It might just be the horizon. It might be a subject within your image. It might be the sun in the distance. But at least that person's looking into something and your eye will follow their eye and look internally in your image. That's really, I think that's an important rule to be aware of. Like I said, some people do the opposite just for artistic purposes, and that's fine if you want to do that, but you've got to be aware of the risk of doing it. You might lose your viewer. The other compositional thing I see all the time is where you've got anything that moves in your image. So let's say you've got a car, an aeroplane, a boat, some sort of vehicle, a person walking, a person running, an animal, or even if they look like they're going to move. What you need to do is to give that thing some space to move into. So as an example, if you've got, let's say, a boat and it's almost going off the page, what your eye will do, it would follow that boat and it will follow the boat off the page. So it just thinks, where's that boat going? It's going off the page. So ideally, what you want to do is place that boat on a third and give it at least a third of your image to move into. So ideally, in my mind at least, and you might have a different opinion, I think if you're going to have something moving like a bird, a car, an aeroplane, anything, a person running or whatever they're doing, ideally you want them to move left to right. Obviously, that's not always easy because it depends on where you are in the image. But if you can get that, then that would be even more attractive to your viewer than if it was the other way around. So that's a couple of compositional tips, rules, hacks, call them what you like, that I'd missed out on the earlier video and I thought it might be interesting for you. Thank you very much indeed for watching this short video. I hope it's been useful, and I hope that these compositional sort of rules are something you would be interested in. Obviously, if you have liked the video, then thumbs up would be great. And if you like this photography content, then a subscribe would be even better. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.